Hello everyone. I just got back from, well, not just got back, I've slept, but you know what I mean. I just finished with performing in the Medieval Fair for 3 days from like 9 to 9, and oh my goodness, I have not felt more pleasure in my life than when I take off these shoes, like at the end of the day, and just sort of dump out all the debris that they've picked up and massage my feet. I was playing Joanne Pearl, herald to King Edward, the third of his name, or rather his son, the Black Prince Edward. And although he has a name such as the Black Prince, which is meant to give him a bit of a steely edge, he's really a big fuzzy pushover. And yeah, I know it's a little anachronistic having a lady herald, or two rather, but there's a bit of a story behind that. And also, we were just kind of there, and we were auditioning, and like me and my fellow lady herald were the loud ones, the ones with much great personality and a tendency to project our voices. So yeah, it just ended up working out the best. But anyways, so the background behind all this is, okay, so the year is around 13-something-3. I always forget which decade it is, but I have a feeling it's like the 4th decade. And in this time period, England and France have been like going to war. This is like the period of like the 100 Years' Wars and everything, and like Joan of Arc and everything. And so England in this time period had just taken over the whole of Brittany and negotiated a treaty with France. And so this is a time of peace, where we can build up our resources again and build up our knight army and yada 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 yada. And also this is a period during which we have the Black Plague going around, but this is the year where we think, yay, the Black Plague is finally gone and over, huzzah! Yeah, that doesn't last long. Us two heralds, Joanne Pearl and Catherine de Fontaine. We were apparently going to college at this time. I think Catherine de Fontaine was actually able to find information about her character. See, all we really know about our characters is that we are Pleiades. We are French poets, a group of 7. And basically our casting director, our acting director, had pulled us from a list of names on there. But I couldn't find any information about mine. I don't know why. Archaeologists, anthropologists, get on that, please, I beg of you. But anyway, so we were going to college, and I assume we graduated, but we could see which way the wind was blowing. And so Catherine, who's half English, was like, you know what? And took me along with her to join the court of King Edward, and hopefully gain some positions and some lovely husbands in the process. And lots of cash money to put behind for a nesting egg. But, anyways, it seems to have worked out for us, background-wise. Although there have been some opportunities, not opportunities, but occasions where I feared that my head might end up on a chopping block. Namely, accidentally mistaking Queen Philippa for Queen Guinevere, because, okay, so before I get into that story, at around the same time that we, the court of King Edward, have our deal going on in the fair, there's also the AOA, no, I forget what their I don't know, what their letters, the letters, there's a word for what letters stand for in the vocabulary. I don't have it right now, but anyways, the AOA has going on at the same time King Arthur's court, like Arthur, Guinevere, Lancelot, the whole deal. And they have their own little setup and a chessboard that they've got going on, and like jousting, that happens. And then we also have the SCA, the Society of Creative Anachronism. Yes, that's what they are. Got that one. But they also have an embassy set up near the AOA's compound as well. All of this is happening at the same time, and the way we've sort of explained it within our own circles, and we occasionally mention to those patrons who are interested in it, see, we, at the same time this is all going on, we have a couple of Doctor Who enthusiasts who come dressed up as the 9th and 10th Doctor, and and they come every year. And they like hanging out in every compound and everything, and so the doctors are here to oversee and make sure that nothing bad happens, while all these different time periods and locations are mushed together in this place that is years in the future, but not too many. And so, yeah, that's interesting. But so, we have the embassy that the Barony of Namrod has, and every morning and every afternoon, we line up, we go to the embassy, and we ask for entrance and line up again, and we have this grand parade where the heralds, me and Catherine, basically shout, "Long live King Edward, long live Baron Andrew," and we march down to the AOA's compound where King Arthur and Queen Guinevere meet us every morning so that we can join them within our procession and march on down to our compound to have the morning ceremonies and everything. And so after they join us, we shout, "Long live King Arthur," and all of that, hip hip huzzah, all that jazz. And I may have flubbed that 1 or 2 times. Yeah, the first time I was able to catch myself before I went through with it. And so, long live King Edward, long live Queen Philippa. And that was all well and good. And that was Saturday. And then Sunday came along, and it was the very last cheer before we went into the compound. And I went straight ahead with the "Long live King Edward, long live Queen Guinevere." And I could hear a chorus of laughter behind me, and I just sort of sunk down and did the hip hip huzzahs like this. But according to Lady Maud, who was somewhere in the middle of the procession, she could hear that half of the crew went ahead with "Long live Queen Philippa," and the other half, who was highly entertained with what I had done, went with "Long live Queen Guinevere." And so it sort of came out with a "Long live Queen Philivere" and "Long live Queen Guinevere." And I was surprised I didn't get teased more for that. Oh, I would have teased Catherine relentlessly if that had happened. Well, maybe not relentlessly, but you know. Another one of our duties as heralds is, well, that takes a little bit more of explaining, because that needs explaining what we do as the Court of King Edward. So one of our main jobs as the Court of King Edward is to hold knightings and princessings of all of the kids and sometimes adults that come through. And we don't just do knightings and princessings, we do whatever the patron desires, because the patron is always right. And so we've had a couple of interesting ones come through, but what my job is I'm the herald to Prince Edward whenever the king needs a refreshment or he wants to go see one of the activities that's going on, like the live chessboard that the AOA does, or jousting or whatever. The prince comes in and takes over the knightings and princessings, and it doesn't happen randomly. We have shifts and everything, and it usually goes off without a hitch, although on the last day, I don't really know what brought it on, but the king and queen never returned for their shift, and so instead we sort of interchanged between the crown prince and princess and the third prince and the fourth prince and their respective wives, and that was interesting. But anyways, like I said, we had some interesting ones come through. On the first day in particular, which I used as an example to everyone who came through afterwards, that you could be whatever you wanted. You could be a dragon, you could be an overlord of the dark world, you could be a warrior princess, and so we had switched over to the court of Prince Edward, and Prince Edward gestured to me, and I made the announcement that we were holding knightings and princessings, and I mentioned that you could even become dragons and such, like I just said before. And there was this group of a couple guys and a girl who were sitting on one of the hay bale benches we had. And one of the guys, the guy in the middle, jumped up and said, "I'm gonna be a dragon!" and rushed to have his name signed in the book that we have over by the gates. Everyone signs their name in the book and comes down so I can present them. When it was their turn to come down the line, he had changed his mind. He was no longer going to be a dragon. No. What happened was, one of the guys introduced himself as Cool Guy McGee and his friend as Poopy. And Cool Guy McGee wanted to be a narwhal, and Poopy was going to be a turtle. So I had a really hard time keeping myself from laughing at the look on Prince Edward's face and when I brought them forward. Oh dear. One of my favorite things was when I went around to them afterwards, because they were just milling about going, ha ha ha, having a good chortle, and I kind of sidelined them going, "I wish you luck in making your arrangements, for you do have 24 hours to get yourselves hence to an ocean." And then another that I liked in particular, alright, so we have a friend who was with us on like the first year that I performed, and she's since moved to another state and everything. But she came down to see us in costume and everything. She and her hubby were a pirate, and so they came through the line, and I met them, and he had me introduce her as Captain Princess Sparkle Pants. And so Captain Princess Sparkle Pants requested a pardon from the Earl Marshal for all of her future acts of piracy, which, I mean, technically is asking for like a permit to become a privateer. I forget what the official term for that is, but England did that a lot. Now look at, England did that a lot, where they would give out like permits to pirates and told them, "Go attack those Spanish galleons for us, please, and we will allow you to keep part of the profits." And so watching her cower before the Earl Marshal as the Earl Marshal took her sword and threatened beheading if she did not agree to her terms was rather entertaining. And then the knighting, permission granted. It was fabulous. And I do dearly love all the cast members. Everyone is super sweet. Like, just to give you an example, because everyone, like, really loves everyone else and treats them special. And the first year I performed in this, I performed in it my freshman year of college, and I wasn't able to do it the 2 subsequent years, and I'm only back in it now because I'm graduated and everything, and so I have the time and the sanity to participate. But the first year we did it, the fair fell on my birthday. My birthday was on the last day, I do believe, and so on the morning of that day, that year I was playing the court fool. I was Grog Grody Clutsit. Very, very appropriate. And our acting director was playing the king that year, and I was completely surprised. I don't believe I had told anyone that it was my birthday or anything. I guess I found out through Facebook. And so the king called me up to the stage, and in my usual fashion, I ran and I leapt and I jumped up on stage, and my feet went woo! And I went down and I continued sliding off the stage. And everyone was like, oh! Because I've done this many times, and like the first time we did the performance, we rehearsed the performance we would give for the maypole, and the king called out, "Stop! The fool is tired!" I fell, and everyone was scared that I had gotten a concussion because my head hit the ground so loudly, but I was fine. And it's gotten to be a bit of an inside joke, but I fell and I slid and I hopped up again and ta-da! And they just like celebrated my birthday in that fashion, and I got a certificate for being a fool, and everyone is just so super nice and everything. Gosh, I love them. And this year's no different. Like, this year we happened to land on April Fool's, because it's always the first weekend in April that we do this, and so like the days will change around and everything. But this year it happened on April Fool's, and so on April Fool's the king gave all of the fools permission, like royal pardon, to do whatever they wanted this one day only. It's great. But weren't any birthdays celebrated? Well, there was one for the minstrels. The minstrels had a birthday among them, and we celebrated her birthday. And we also had a wedding. Someone was having their wedding done in the court on that day, and one of Fool Toop is a minister, and so he officiated it, and it was fantastic. But I didn't get to watch because I was busy helping with the knightings and princessings that were continuing on, like off to the side. Oh, I just remembered another interesting thing. Okay, so there was this one point when I believe we had just gotten back from the midday parade, and so Catherine and I were in the compound at the same time, and we were between shifts. And so I'm trying to remember, there was this one particular guy who went around the fair and everything, and he was sort of dressed up like an executioner, but like sort of like a barbarian executioner almost. And he was this person who, if you paid him, would go insult someone or insult you. And he had like these most creative insults, and he came by and called for the herald. And so Catherine and I, who were standing together, were like, what? And so we both went, and so we were like, yes, you called for us? And he's like, I'm here to speak with the herald. This is she, both of us. We are both the heralds. And he's like, the one in blue. We're both in blue. Well, you're bluer, pointing to Catherine, because Catherine is royal blue and I am teal. It has more green in it. And so I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I wish I could remember all of them, because like they were really creative and they all used very high vocabulary words. This man would pass his SATs with flying colors. But anyway, so the first insult I can't remember, but the second one, which I believe is the one that Catherine liked the most, was, Madam, you are like a toad, ugly, cue laughter, and venomous. Oh, I don't know if all toads are venomous. Well, no, it doesn't make any sense, because like venom is the snakes inject, and poisonous is the ones you eat, and frogs, they don't inject you with poison. I don't think. If you eat them, then you die. That's their poisonous. So he was wrong. Oh no, his SAT scores, they fall. But we spent a large part of the afternoon just talking among each other, being like, who in the world said that? The only thing he would allow us was, it was a member of the court. And so we were like, Prince Edward, was it you? No, it wasn't you. Princess Isabella, where is Princess Isabella? This is the kind of thing Princess Isabella would pull. And Lady Maud was the one of the ones who was with us, I believe, at the time. And it was she who had sent the man and paid him to insult Lady Catherine. And so that was funny. She has a wonderful poker face, I must say. I was quite exhausted after the end of each day, like so much so that I kind of had to pick up my legs as I walked if I wanted to get anywhere. I jumped like 1 foot off of a stage and fell onto my knees because my legs wouldn't carry me up. And like on Saturday, I hadn't worn long leggings underneath my dress, just like something very, very short. And so like I had developed a rash between my legs from walking so much, and I had to spend the entire day like not the entire day, but like after I'd gotten home, the entire evening, just walking like a crab to get anywhere and to like prevent any more damage or pain. But I do not think I was nearly as exhausted as my friend who was dressed up and played as Lady Merida from Brave, Princess Merida. And like technically for copyright reasons, she was Meredith, but you know, if the customers, if the patrons who come up and see her and shout, Merida! No, the patrons are always right. And so, yeah, she was a street performer rather than a court performer, and so she had free leave, not to accompany like any of the shiny crowns, but to walk around fair and everything, and she did. And so anytime she tried to get anywhere, there would be like 3 or 5 little girls and boys even who would stop her by shouting, "Princess Merida!" wanting to greet her and get a hug, and she had these little ribbon roses that she gave out to them as like special favors, and also partially so that after she had tied it around their wrist, she could see that I have met this person and recognize them. And that always brightened up people's day. It was so cute. I got the chance to wander around with her a little bit, and it was very nice. I really, really do love the aspect of working in the fair where you just get to make someone's day. And I didn't quite have like a shtick worked out. I just kind of worked with whatever was going on and what was happening. Like talking to some of the patrons about their magic Merlin boxes and how Merlin was being very generous, and how do these things work exactly? Is there a tiny painter inside who paints the image as you take it, or something like that? It was funny. But one of my favorite things to do, especially like during the parade when we were not like shouting or anything or on procession with His and Her Highness, would be to, if I made eye contact with a patron, I would take my dress and curtsy very low and formally and say something like, "Good morrow, your lordship. Good morrow, lord and ladies. How do you fare this day?" And like the patrons who were open to it would just like smile and go, "Oh, good morrow. Good morrow. What does good morrow mean?" Some of them said. It was just awesome. And making people happy is like the best feeling. I swear. There were some attractions that I wasn't able to get to see, however, that I was really curious and I really wanted to see. Like, I did get to see the joust on the very first day. I think it was partially our job, but also like partially we were able to, so we're going to do it. But the prince and princess, during the morning announcements after King Arthur had announced their jousts and everything, was like, "We will go and see these jousts." And so all of their court went with them to go watch the jousts, and I was very happy to get to see that, because oh, poor Marcus. It was Knights Jacob and Marcus who were doing combat, and poor Sir Marcus, who I'd chosen to cheer for, had a new horse who wasn't used to doing these things in public and just kept spinning, just trying to calm the horse down. Anyways, I wanted to see the chessboard, but the chessboard always happened, like the time that I knew it always happened at least, was it ended right before the main parade began, but I always had to line up with the parade, so I didn't have the excuse of going to see it and then joining the parade afterwards. But there was this one point at which it was during the morning on the last day where Lady Eva had decided that she really wanted to see and ride the elephants, and she was looking for people who were interested in going with her. And I do believe that His and Her Highness gathered their group and all went, except for me, because on that day, like the very first day, I had been running around like mad, being like, "Okay, where is my compound? I need to find my compound. Okay, here's the compound. Now I need to find information on where a hair braider is because my hair is down and I look like a disgrace. I need to get my hair braided before the parade. Where is it?" And so I was running around like mad, to the point where like I had this trim, you see, and I had put it on the hem of my dress, but I was going for like speed and not strength when I was putting it on, because it was a very last minute thing. And so I had sewn it on like every 4th or so repetition, and this blasted shoe with its pointy end got straight through the trim and pulled on it and ripped it, and so I just had to rip out the entire thing because that was too much to fool with the entire dang fair. But I did find the hair braiders, and I kept it in for a couple of days, and then I had to bathe, and then so that 3rd morning I also needed to have my hair braided, and I came in early well, not necessarily early. I'm always like slightly late because I have to eat breakfast and everything. But I came in with enough time that I could calmly go see the braiders and have my hair braided before the parade. And see, I did get it braided. It has a heart in it, and isn't it gorgeous? Anyways, they were not open before the parade. They opened right before the parade began, and I was so mad. And so after the parade, I went directly there to have my hair put up, and that's when Lady Eva and the crew went to go see the elephants, and I was like, I wanted to go. I would have wanted to go if I had known it was happening, but it's whatever. I'll always get the chance like next year, probably. Probably, maybe, hopefully. Because I know I'm definitely doing this again next year. It's too much fun not to. But anyways, those are just like some of the moments from the fair that like I remembered and wanted to share with you guys. There was a whole lot of fun times that were had, and just it's exciting. It's a part of my life that I love, and I have a lot of good friends in the fair too. So just thank you for taking the time to listen to me ramble, and I will be seeing you guys in another video somewhere else. So bye bye.